So you want to be a real estate investor. There are so many different aspects that you need to consider that I've asked my dear friend Amy Pfeffer to join me today to give some of her personal insights to becoming a real estate investor, because she and her family have done a really great job with that here in Southeast Michigan. So Amy, thanks for joining me today. I'm so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I've known your family for a very long time, and you're so dear to me. So the main reasons that people get into this is because they want to build wealth, right? There's a couple different ways that they can build wealth, right? So they can either buy something and enjoy the property value appreciation, and the other way is to enjoy the cash flow that comes out of these things
Certainly.
over time. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into real estate investing and kind of the key drivers, what made you do it.
Great question. So, I mean, honestly, there's 100 different reasons. The primary ones being what you just mentioned. It's building wealth, increasing cash flow. But I don't think you know this about me. I'm in recruiting, and when I first started out, I would interview candidates constantly who had a job for 20 years, had a career, and something changes in their business, and all of a sudden that job is no longer viable, and they're looking for a new one, and all their savings are going out the window. And it scared me so much, and I thought, I need a backup plan. I need at least some cash flow. I need something to fall back on. My full-time job can't be it for me. So it was more that peace of mind that really drove me into it. It felt more urgent once I got there. Plus, it's just really interesting to me. I just genuinely enjoy it. So it's really all those, but the safety net to me was the thing that made me say, okay, I have to get this done now. I got to jump in.
Cool. So build a safety net, and also you had a passion for things real estate.
100%. I love a before and after. So the idea of rehabbing something, and you don't really have to rehab to invest in real estate, but that's the part that I'm passionate about. So wanted to kind of find an outlet for that.
Good. Yeah. So the model that you have adopted for your real estate holdings, I think there's an acronym for it. It is
the BRRRR strategy.
The BRRRR strategy.
I didn't make it up.
It applies here in Michigan because it's often cold here. But
that's true.
Tell us what that is.
That is I hope I get this right. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have done that process where you buy them and then you renovate them.
Yep.
And then you stick somebody in there.
Yep.
And then once you have the equity there, you are refinancing and taking the money out of them.
Cash out refi, we pull it all back. And then recycle, maybe that's one of the R's, I don't know. But you recycle that money into the next thing. You repeat it. Yep.
So you have done that now, and how many units are you up to?
7 rentals.
So 7 rental properties here in Southeast Michigan.
Yep.
Tell us about how you chose the area that you wanted to invest in.
Great question. For me, it was really important for me to pick areas that I am personally familiar with. I know other people can easily invest in places that might be a little bit far from them, but because I was new to this and I knew I really wanted to be hands-on and control a lot of it, I picked places that were nearby me. So if I had to get there quickly, I could, because it's not the only thing in my life, right? I wanted to make it convenient for me because I knew if I did, I would keep going. So places nearby, and then places that were up and coming were really important too. So I pick cities nearby, but I pick specific neighborhoods even where they're in the news because there's some sort of investment from the city, like in Detroit specifically. Actually, Fitzgerald, where it's a neighborhood that we've invested in Detroit, the Kresge Foundation is moving their headquarters there. And that was just announced like this week. But it's that kind of investment where either companies are coming in, people are excited about it, that equity generation and appreciation rather is super important. So just areas with buzz are really important. Yeah. And they get me excited again too. So.
You get to be a part of the revitalization
100%.
of an area.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you're focusing, it sounds like, on the appreciation side of the equation.
Absolutely.
And using the cash flow as a side benefit.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Honestly, we don't, if this matters, we don't touch the cash flow. We just let this recycle into itself. That's just our personal strategy. So it has to cash flow. It has to make sense for us. But it's really twofold. It's the appreciation as well.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be both.
Let's talk for a second about the difference between hands-on management and hiring a management company. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is a question I get all the time. Admittedly, we tried to manage our first property, and we did for a few years. It was terrible. We did it. It was okay, and some people can do it. That's fine. But we quickly learned, I won't scale if we continue to do this. Like, we have one property. We went really slow into the second one. When we figured out the BRRRR strategy, that's when things took off. But with the first one, I'm like, I can't do more than one house at a time because I'm constantly talking to these people and chasing down rent and, calling a plumber. And we knew that we couldn't scale and that we would start losing money. And it was really that we had to outsource it. So got a property management company, and I would never, ever go back. Never go back. Yeah.
So you probably have realized that over the course of being an investor with all these properties, you
Yeah.
have to surround yourself with some good professionals, right?
Certainly.
Tell us about the kind of professionals, including the property managers, who you need
yeah.
to engage.
So one thing, just to go a little bit deeper into property management, it's really important for me to find people that not only maintain your properties, but help you grow as an investor. So somebody that can point me into like, hey, I'm seeing a lot pop up in this neighborhood, or, my properties here cash flow really well. So somebody with that investor mindset was incredibly important. And then also somebody that maintains the properties and gives the tenants a good experience. I just have to say, I never want to be a property investor that, leaves tenants with that like landlord feeling. It's really important to me. So customer service is important. So that's property management. Contractor, huge, for so many reasons. Again, we buy properties that we have to rehab, and these rehabs are extensive. Sometimes it's taking the house down to the studs. Sometimes it's, more cosmetic, but I need a contractor that can tell me this is something that has to be fixed. This is, put vinyl in instead of whatever. Somebody that I can rely on, not just to pull money from me, but to do a good job for the house that's sustainable, that I'm not going to be fixing in 6 months. A contractor, cannot stress that one enough. And there's a, whole people of under that umbrella as well. Real estate agent, this is not planned. You have been a huge asset to us, huge asset to us. I will talk to you about specific properties later too, that just, it's been a dream. So real estate team is absolutely vital. A CPA, I don't do any of our accounting. I, of course, monitor, invoices and stuff like that. I have all my receipts. A property management company will help with that as well. But a CPA, hire somebody smarter than you to do that sort of stuff. You don't want to save money on making money. Who am I forgetting? A lawyer.
Lawyer,
Absolutely.
because I think it's important to do
An LLC.
LLC.
Yeah. And you have to be ready for the possibility that there could be some litigation for some reason if you have to evict somebody or something goes wrong at one of your properties, and it could ruin you. So
Right. So you need to create that corporate shield, and you can only do that with a good
100%. Again, I didn't go to law school, don't plan to do it. So hire somebody that knows more than you to take care of that stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Who else was there? We had attorneys, accountants, realtors,
I feel like
financiers. Talk about
Oh,
lenders.
yes. Oh my gosh. Lenders are actually, that's the one that I've actually had the biggest problems with, quite honestly. So, we started with, let's see, just your regular Fannie Freddie loans in the beginning, but I think they max those out at 10. And it's a little bit hard to continue down that path with cash flow. There's restrictions, and even if your properties are cash flowing, they won't lend to you. So we had to get a private lender pretty quickly. And the one I use now has been wonderful. But I've seen some others, or I worked with one in particular, honestly, that, oh my gosh, just I will say we lost some money that we shouldn't have because this person drew out this loan just forever. And that's a huge one. I can't stress that enough. And once you get into private lenders, that refinance piece that I talked about is their time period is different. So a lot of lenders will make you wait from 6 months, 6 months from the time you purchase the house to when you can refi. And that's my money tied up. So if I'm waiting a full 6 months, I can't start on the next project. And the lender I ended up working and still work with today will do that in 3. So there's nothing illegal about it or anything. As a private lender, they can do whatever they want, but they just have restrictions. So it allowed us to go much faster when we found him. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. The lending piece is my favorite piece because it feels like a puzzle. But yeah, it's kind of make or break. It's a huge one.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a second here. If you're going to become an investor, about choosing whether you're going to do long-term rentals or if you want to get into the realm of short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VRBOs, that kind of thing, vacation rentals. Tell us your thoughts.
That's a great question, and that's something I struggle with. So full disclosure, we've only done long-term rentals. I personally want to be, once they're rented out and everything, the property management company steps in. I want to be as hands-off as possible so I can go do more. Short-term, I know there's property management companies that handle that, and that would be fine. But also the areas that I invest in I don't think would be really viable properties for short-term. So I've thought about it. I've looked into it. If we did something like that, maybe it would be downtown. It's not something I know a ton about. The areas that I know really well aren't really short-term areas, if that works. I am tempted. I know the cash flow is a lot, but I also know there's a lot of risk to it. And again, once they're rented out, I want to be as hands-off as possible because you want to build net worth and more cash flow. And to me, that's more sustainable.
Yeah. So one of the risks that we hear often is the potential change of the municipality
Oh, yeah.
and rules as it pertains to short-term rentals.
I listened to a podcast a few years ago, and while they were recording the podcast, they found out, this was in California, they found out that your short-term rentals had to be, and I'm going to get this wrong, but it had to be limited to like 6 per owner or something. And I heard the owner like panic on the podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. That's not going to be me. So again, there's upside, but there's just more risk than I'm really comfortable with right now. And I feel like that would tie me up in a way that would kind of pull me away from my big picture goals.
Yeah.
So,
And there's also that little bit of a risk when you enter into a long-term rental relationship.
yeah.
You have a relationship with an individual or a couple individuals for a year or 2 years,
Yeah.
as opposed to 50 to 250
Oh,
different individuals every year. And that can introduce another entire
yeah.
layer of uncertainty.
I couldn't agree more. And I think about, that the tenants that live in our properties, they don't own the property, but they live there. There's some pride there. We really thoroughly screen them. Somebody who's coming to stay for 1 night or 2 nights, and maybe I've done bachelor parties where we go and rent an Airbnb. I'm not saying we trash the place, but I'm not mopping the floors at the end. You know what I mean? And it just freaks me out. I don't think I have that, I don't think I have it in me. I don't think I have it in me. One thing I do want to say though is I've talked to people who do the short-term rentals for insurance companies. They have relationships there. That I'm really interested in because I guess it'd be medium term. Maybe you would know more about this than I would probably, but it's people who have been displaced from their homes because of maybe a fire, whatever. The insurance company puts them up in a short-term, mid-term rental for like 2 months. That seems more appealing to me. I just don't know how to make that work, and I don't know if you could really guarantee certain areas. I don't know enough about it. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit more like dipping your toe into the short term. That
It
would be
is
more
a
comfortable.
little bit different thing, and you have that backstop of the insurance company. And
Yeah.
we also find generally they're willing to pay a really handsome premium on the rent.
Wild
Which would be
stories.
great.
Yeah, which is really appealing. So I
That's
haven't done it.
business.
Yeah, I haven't done it. It's intriguing.
We should have a sidebar on that one.
Yeah, we should. Yes, please.
Let's do it.
I would love to hear more. Oh yeah.
So the types of properties, now let's talk
Mhm.
about not just the area, but the types of properties.
Mhm.
You could decide to invest in single-family residences or condos
Mhm.
or apartments or commercial buildings or whatever it is. Tell me your thoughts.
I've done single family properties because that's what I'm comfortable with. And again, I picked areas that were up and coming, and appreciation is really important to me. So I think if I got into multifamilies, the cash flow could be stronger. I don't think the appreciation would be there as much. I might be wrong about that, but that's kind of what I've heard. So we stick to single family residences. And the other thing too is we've really refined our parameters too. Like I kind of like to stay under 1,500 square feet. Again, we invest in Detroit and Hazel Park, so you can very easily find a house there and it's still worth it. We do have one that's about 2,000 square feet. You sold it
I know
to
the
us. I bet
house.
it's gorgeous, like leaded glass windows, awesome Detroit plat. It's a beautiful house, and it's actually gone well. It's cash flowed. It's quadrupled in value since we purchased it, but the boiler went out one time and it was nuts. So very quickly we were like, okay, they can't, not all of them can be this. This is our kind of like jewel that we'll appreciate like crazy. We'll hang on to it. But if they all did this and all the boilers went out one year, it would completely ruin me. So, it's not what we target, but we have one of them. So single family residences for me, 1,500 square feet. And that way also, when we go through these, I know what the rehab's going to cost. I mean, down to pretty close. because we've done exactly that.
And
So
your
the rinse and
contractor
repeat.
is really good at
Absolutely.
telling you this is exactly what it's going to cost.
I know the timeline and everything. So yeah, and then I know rent, I know mortgage and everything. It's
Good.
Again, the repeatability. I don't want to be kind of relearning the process every time.
So that is really, you're in control of your own domain.
Yeah.
It's somebody, we have some investors who prefer to get into condos, and the advantage that they see is the general maintenance of the building, the common areas is
Yeah.
handled by somebody else. But you do lose a little bit of authority over your building, right? The
Yeah.
rules can change and whatever. Those things can change. So it's kind of a personal preference, I guess.
Sure.
If you wanted to do condo and hands off on the
Yeah.
building maintenance,
Mhm.
or what you've done, which is to really have control over your domain.
Oh, sure. And to the earlier point, like the geography is going to be really important too. If I was investing in a beach town or something, condos would just probably be something I had to look at. So I'd, figure it out. But in the areas that I'm looking at, single family is just the most dominant option. It's the most prevalent option. So you're going with that.
That's what makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I know.
So we often get inquiries, probably a dozen times a year, from people who say, I want to become an investor. And people, they see the value in it because they want to have financial security, the same things that you did for your family. And give us your advice for those people who are thinking about doing it from your perspective. What do they need to do?
Just it's kind of, where do you start?
Decide whether it's right for them.
So you have to have an appetite for risk and for just kind of getting your hands dirty. Again, building the team is really important. I have a CPA that does our taxes. I have a real estate team who knows what I'm looking for and are truly the professionals in that space. But I am, to some extent, involved in all of them. On my lunch, but I work remote. I drive around and look at neighborhoods and think, not only like looking at a specific house saying, is this something we're interested in, but does the neighborhood feel safe? Do I see people walking around? Drive around at night? Are there lights on? Just things like that. So I'm kind of willing to go boots on the ground.
Yep.
So you have to be willing to put time in, again, an appetite for risk because things will go wrong and you just have to be able to accept that. Research skills are really important. I spend a ton of time looking at listings, even when I'm not actively looking, just to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of the neighborhoods that I'm interested in. Looking at articles about the neighborhoods, what's happening there, are there new businesses entering? Is it the opposite? Is crime the problem? So research skills, appetite.
You have to be able to do math, right?
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah. Again, I love that part. I don't know why. Call me crazy, but I really think that part's interesting. Math is incredibly important. Figure out Excel. That's my biggest thing. I have all my own kind of calculators I've built in to A, look at property values, B, determine potential rehab costs and, mortgages, like potential mortgage payments, potential rent, all those things, because there are a ton of factors that can really throw your profitability one way or the other. I mean, even as specific as, insurance payments in some areas can really throw something from profitable to not. So math is absolutely a huge one. You got to be okay with it. Yeah.
And you have to have the passion for it. And it sounds like what you're telling me is this is a hands-on game. This is not, very much be an investor.
Yeah.
I think I'll buy a house. This is, and you probably have to vet a lot of properties before you find a good opportunity. What does that look like?
A lot of it is done online. Again, I do a ton of driving around. That's why personally I like to invest in places that are close by, because we do invest in up and coming areas. And so there are I can go 2 blocks over and it could be an area that I wouldn't invest in. Like I am aware of that. It won't be in every neighborhood or city that you might be looking in, but that is our reality. So it is very hands-on. We do have a contractor that does almost everything, but we have a great relationship with them, our general contractor, and then we have like roofers and plumbers and all these things. But we do help them out. I can't tell you the number of times that I've, again, on a lunch break, gone and moved I remember one time Alana and I were moving this dryer washer, like stackable unit through the snow with a hand truck or a dolly, and I'm in like business casual clothes, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
What am I doing here? Yeah.
But the property runs great. No, I'm like, this is supposed to be passive. There's nothing passive about this. And we just ended up laughing because we're like, what are we doing? But the property has increased in value like crazy. It's cash flow is great. We've had the same tenant there for like 3 years now. Like It's great. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty. I don't care if you have a great team. There will be a lot of involvement on your part. And again, your team, you're the leader. So you got to be comfortable dealing with a bunch of different groups, even if they're the ones handling a bulk of the work in that area. You got to be hands-on. You have to know your business because nobody's going to care about it as much as you at the end of the day.
And you may have to look at 20, 30 different opportunities in those neighborhoods and drive them before you come up with one that even works financially for you.
Absolutely. And I've seen, we've gone through so many where I'm like, I love this house. I'm personally drawn to this house, but financially doesn't work. And it's really heartbreaking, but you just got to be willing.
Pretty kitchen syndrome. Because let's have, oh my God, I want to have this house. And then you look at the finances and it's like, this makes no sense.
I know. And you're like, I just want to make it work. Yeah. So you have to be okay. You have to be okay walking away from that stuff and going and looking at a bunch that, you know, you wish would work because you've been waiting a long time and then they didn't. And I don't know, when it rains, it pours. I mean, we've gone through a bunch of situations where nothing comes for months and then a bunch happen at once. And I'm like, I wish I could do more quicker because there's so many opportunities. So one of my favorite quotes, and I didn't, of course, make this up, but it's when success happens when success happens when preparation meets opportunity. And that's so applicable to this situation because you have to do your research. You have to understand what you're getting into. The opportunity might not always be there. So when it does, you have to be ready for it. You have to have your team. You have to have your parameters. You have to be ready to act. You have to have the courage to do so.
And the ability to understand if it really
is. Yeah.
You got to know your math.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of the questions I get asked a lot is how did you save up the money to do this? So with the first one, we had no kids, or this is 2013, 15, so our mortgage was, it was great. Anyway, we saved up money. We put a 20% down payment. We bought the house. It cash flowed. It was great. But we immediately realized I don't have the money to do this all the time. We can't really scale this way. So then we found the BRRRR strategy. But even then, to buy a house cash, that's more than I had for a really long time. So we did what we call playing Monopoly, which is just slowly scale up. So we fixed up our first house, sold it, made a little bit of money, bought another house, fixed it up, and then we got a HELOC. So we were lucky enough to buy our house in 2017 for a great price before everything really blew up. We did a ton of work to rehab that.
This is your principal residence.
This is our principal, yeah. Did a ton of work to rehab it. It was also kind of a boot camp in the team that we needed because we had to go through a ton of contractors. Some were terrible and then some were wonderful, and that's where we, again, got our team. So I would highly recommend kind of trying it out on your principal. If your principal needs it, that's, again, a good way to figure out your team and everything. So then we got a HELOC, which essentially, again, it's a home equity line of credit. We buy our house as cash with the HELOC. So it's not like I have this money sitting in a bank account. It's a line of credit. So you buy it cash with that. We rehab using that money, and then we do the cash out refi. We just pay it back off.
So you're using your HELOC as a piggy bank.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. So people think it's just dollar bills under the mattress. It's not the case. It's a HELOC. And I feel like most people, or some people don't know about that. And again, if you're lucky enough to have all that equity in your home, and a lot of people are, it's totally untapped. And it has that has been a real game changer for us. It's been incredibly beneficial. Do you want any horror stories?
Tell me the horror stories.
Do you really want them? I don't know if you want it, if it will deliver to people.
Tell me the horror stories.
So the worst thing to ever happen to us, I shouldn't even admit this. We have, vacancies will kill you. I can summarize it there. So we had this house. People were about to move in. It was vacant. We took forever to rehab. It was like one of our worst ones. I don't know what happened. Somebody was about to move in. The realtor was still showing it. They go to show it. All the appliances have been stolen. This is in Detroit. This is a realistic,
it happens,
thing that happens. They stole furnace, hot water heater, brand new refrigerator, stove, dishwasher. So we put security systems up. We got all new appliances, and we're like, well, I mean, you're not gonna have this. We're fine. At least you know that.
Yeah.
Stole it all again in 2 weeks.
And took the cameras?
And took I will tell you what. They went out the back door. I didn't have a camera there because there was a security door. We couldn't even get it open, and they got it open, no problem. So that solved that. I had a camera on the front door, and I saw it open, and my alarm went off and everything. And so I get on the phone with the police, and I'm like, someone is in my house. I'm not there. I'm safe, but someone is in my house. Honestly, not expecting them to do much because it's vacant. And I see the stove being walked out while I was on the phone with the operator. I'm sobbing into the phone and I'm like, I don't know what I can do. I can't, like, this is in the middle of winter. It's below freezing. They stole the first round of theft was the day before Christmas Eve. I'm like, I can't get anyone in this house because I can't get a furnace in there. And they were in there, the police arrived within, I think it was 14 minutes, which I thought was a pretty good turnaround, all things considered. But they got everything out of there. It was terrible. And then we reinstalled our third round of appliances the day the new tenants moved in. So just if you are investing in certain areas, be comfortable pulling appliances. We did that the next time. Be comfortable pulling them. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. People are desperate and steal stuff. So
That's what you do as well, right? Protect your asset.
Yeah.
Tell us another
Four times. Another horse.
I want to hear it.
Pushing that unit through the snow was not really great. We honestly, knock on all the wood, because we've been very lucky and we've had really good tenants, but we had somebody in our very first house who was there. Your team found the tenant, by the way. And I should say this too. We tried to rent out the house ourselves the first time, like before property managers. That lasted maybe 2 weeks. We met a dozen tenants, disaster, and we were like, we don't know what we're doing. So we hired you guys. You rented it out within something ridiculous, like 48 hours, got more rent than we thought we would get. And that person stayed in there for 8 years, was 2023. But at the end, unfortunately, things, a lot changed in that person's life during that time. Things kind of soured at the end, so stopped paying rent for a long period of time. We did work with a property management company and we're like, please give grace. She's been there a really long time. It did go poorly, and we kind of made a deal at the end to get him out. So that could have gone really bad. Going into the property, I'm like, this place could be trashed. It wasn't in great shape, honestly, but it wasn't horrible. So we had a lot of work to do there, but all things considered, it's just something that's going to happen. Could have been much worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Tenant management, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. What else? I had pipes freeze.
Yeah.
I had a property manager, honestly, who didn't, they tried to mail the keys back. They didn't put enough postage on the envelope. The keys came back to us. But that took like 2 weeks and it was below freezing.
Oh, no.
The heat was shut off. And the pipes almost froze. We had to get a bunch of space heaters in there. The sink ended up bursting. That was the only thing. But it was terrifying because we're waiting for DTE to come and like turn the heat back on. And I'm sitting there for like 3 days thinking, if the pipes burst, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So that was really scary. Again, just because of postage. Like, it's just small things that go wrong.
So this speaks to the hands-on nature of the business.
Very much so.
Be involved.
Yeah. And knowing just small things like, now I know with the utility companies, there are certain landlord rules where if the tenant shuts it off into their name, it reverts back to me so it doesn't shut off. So little things like that you just kind of, unless somebody told you, you wouldn't know until you kind of messed up and you learn the hard way. So,
Got it.
Yeah. We've avoided a lot of really huge disasters. The robbery was terrible. Like, it just was. It was awful.
Oh,
so, no, that's all right.
Tell me, final words for people thinking about getting into this kind of a business.
Sure.
Give us your advice.
Just do it. I can't tell it, and I'm sure you get this all the time. People ask me about this constantly, and this is not something I'm putting out into the world. This is not something I'm putting out into the world. We just do it, and we do it for us, and that's it. But people ask me about it all the time, and then a couple years go by, and they ask me again, and nothing's changed. And I understand that. Again, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to do it or not. It's totally your call. But my advice is get out of analysis paralysis and just try it out. The worst that can happen, you sell the house. That's it. You don't have to rent it out if it's not for you. But it's been wonderful for us. And man, with our first property, I knew 1% of what I know today. That you have to get in there and just learn. Just get in there and do it.
Hands-on master degree.
Yeah, just get in there for sure. Yep. I think my advice. Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun. Thank you.
I enjoyed it. So if you're contemplating getting into investing and you're looking for guidance, we're always happy to sit down and have a conversation with you. But the information is largely going to be what we discussed here today. But if you want to have a personal conversation, please give me a phone call, shoot me a text, call my office, send us an email. We're here to help you to determine whether investing in real estate is in your future?